Yo team, so the month of February has come and gone. March is now here, and according to my Princess Mononoke journal, in the month of February I listened to a combined 54 projects, and counting in case I missed anything. I say projects and not albums because I am including EPs. So just keep that in mind for this video. I think for this video specifically, I'm going to start with what I thought were the worst albums in the month of February, in albums that I will not concede on, that I think were just bad. But again, just know I'm a guy on the internet. It's just my opinion. If you like these albums for some reason, feel free to tell me why you think I'm wrong in the comments. But anyways, let's get started. These are what I thought were the worst albums in the month of February. Up first, we have Hemlock Springs, The Apple Tree Under the Sea. This album just bleeds trying hard to be unique, right? We're not talking Lady Gaga or Tyler the Creator here, who are just genuinely creative, very eccentric characters in their own right, and that's just naturally who they are. But there's a little too much try hard energy. It's just like trying to be weird for the sake of trying to be weird instead of actually, I don't know. There's an undertone of disingenuousness from this, at least to me. Again, sorry if you like this album and this artist. It's just, I've never heard of them. This is my first exposure to them, and I didn't like this album. A lot of the vocals are very, I feel like if you like these vocals, it's acquired taste. It's not something that's easy to listen to, in my opinion. Again, I have to keep reiterating that. But yeah, this is not a good first introduction to this artist. I am not opposed to listening to anything else that they've put out, but at least for this first listen, it's not an album that I fuck with. Up next, Banshee, The Secrets of Altering Reality. Similarly to the last album, I don't like the execution of vocals. I feel it's very, I don't know, it's excessive for what it's trying to present. The music is good, right, instrumentally in the background, but the vocals are the main thing that takes me out of this. This is my first exposure to this artist as well, Banshee. I'd never heard of them prior to this. This album is just, yeah, it's unlistenable to me because of the vocals. I can't get past the vocals. It's very much the reason why I couldn't listen to something like, for example, completely unrelated, but for the longest time I couldn't listen to black metal. The vocals just weren't my thing. It's hard to get into something when instrumentally it sounds, okay, it's catchy, it's this and that, but yeah, the vocals are definitely a challenge. Up next, what I think will possibly be, if I'd be surprised if anything beats this, but what I think will be my worst album of the year. Again, feel free to disagree, but it's Willow, Petal Rock Black. What the fuck is this album? Something that you will notice throughout my channel if you keep watching my videos for whatever reason, I do not like experimental music. I think it's very, let's just do weird shit for the sake of doing weird shit. I can't jive with randomness, just random for the sake of being random, just singing and notes and noises where they don't belong. I champion organized noise, not whatever the fuck this is. And I have to keep reiterating this. It's not that I would be opposed to listening to anything else that any of these artists have put out or will put out in the future. Just this album in particular didn't speak to me. I thought it was horrendous. It was terrible to sit through and listen through, and yeah. Anyways, lastly, on albums that I thought were horrible, that I will not concede on, and I do not give a fuck what you say, I think this is objectively bad, is Moonchild, Waves. This is R&B with no seasoning. And any seasoning that is present is because of the features that they have. I don't get how you make R&B this boring. R&B is supposed to be, sexy, groovy, you know what I'm saying? Like, R&B is, generally speaking, a subgenre that you want to fuck to, but ain't none of that happening here. I can't explain to you how dull this was of a listen. It proves, at least to me, that being a multi-instrumentalist does not mean you know how to write a good song. The vocals are very boring, they're very dull, there's no presence in them. This wasn't it, brother. It just wasn't. But anyways, here are albums that I thought were bad, but you will most likely have disagreement too, and I will concede and I will accept that I am in the minority in disliking them. They are as follows: We have up first Mitski's Nothing's About to Happen to Me. This is alternative music that I can't get into. It's very, very hipster, very, I don't know, very college kid-esque. I don't know how to explain this. There's an aesthetic that goes to this. Like, I feel like I can picture the type of person that listens to music like this, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I couldn't get into it. Similarly, different sound, but MX Lonely, All Monsters, it's a very weird take on shoegaze, at least not one that I could get into. I don't really have much to say about this album, but I didn't like it. But again, I can accept that people will listen to this and have a different opinion, or whatever. Anyways, the first EP on this list is U2, Days of Ash. I feel like this sounds very dated. U2 is not doing anything to expand on the legacy that they've built here. This could have very well dropped in 1992 and probably done well, but not so much anymore. I didn't like this. Now, for the metal crowd, every channel I saw, whether it was, the Metal Meltdown, Banger TV, or written reviews or anything, they were raving and fucking nutting everywhere to this album, and I just agree to disagree, fam. I don't know what album we listened to, but we didn't listen to the same album, and that's Mayhem, Liturgy of Death. What the fuck? Those random, like, chanting vocals they had in there, I know the metal crowd's gonna be, up in arms about this one, but I can't. I can accept that I'm in the minority, but no. This didn't do anything for me personally. And lastly, if you haven't seen my reaction already, this is no secret. I already had I wouldn't say a back and forth, but I did have someone say that I have to readjust what I think of my definition of music, and yeah, that's Gorillaz, The Mountain. Album didn't do shit for me, and I'm very much well in the minority. Again, I see the written reviews, the channels, doesn't matter if it's Fantano or the newer reactors here. It just, everyone loves this album, and I mentioned everything in there. There's also comments on that reaction. Go check it out if you haven't already. I can't bring myself to rethink my opinion of that album. To me, it's very drawn out, I spoke on this already. But yeah, those are what I thought were the worst albums of February. Now, here's some albums that I could say I enjoyed, but I think you would probably enjoy them just a tad more. I wouldn't call them mid, at least not for this video. They weren't offensive, but I think they were just missing just a little bit more to make them pack a punch or just be better in general. First up, we have Joji, Piss in the Wind. I know I gave it a score of 8 ultimately, but I find that lately I'm not revisiting the songs as much as I thought I would. I still listen to Pixelated Kisses. Hotel California is very much in the rotation. If it ever gets better, definitely great songs. But a lot of those singles dropped last year. A lot of what dropped this year isn't hitting as much for me personally. But again, that's not to say that this is a mid album. It's just, I find I don't have it in heavy rotation like I thought I would. Still nice to hear Joji this year, though. Up next, Charlie XCX, Wuthering Heights. Again, if you saw the reaction, you know that I gave this an 8 as well. But I find that I'm only listening to Dying for You and nothing else. In the video, I also said that I see the vision. There is a cinematic kind of purpose to the songs. And that's because it's for a movie, which I didn't know at the time. But same difference. I'm not really revisiting any of the other songs, but they're good nonetheless. Silosis, The New Flesh. I gave it a score of 7 in the reaction. If you saw that, I'm not gonna argue with the level of riffing expertise that you'll find on a Silosis project. They're never going to miss instrumentally. Silosis has always been peak metal when it comes to shit like guitars and song structure and all that. They're never gonna miss, but I think the songs as a whole were missing something for my liking. I wasn't expecting to hear Edge of the Earth or Monolith, like I mentioned in the reaction, but the songs were missing just a little bit, and I still think it's somewhat of a good listen. I just wish the songs were, I don't know, a little more impactful, and I don't know what they were missing to have that, but either way, I still think it was a good album. Lastly, Baby Keem, Casino. Well, not a tough listen at all. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I only find myself revisiting the song Casino. So same deal here. I don't have many of those songs on repeat, and yeah, it is what it is. Now, quickly, I'm gonna give you some albums that I didn't think, I'm not gonna say I was over the moon, but I had fun listening to, and I think you should listen to them as well. They are as follows. We have Story of the Year, Arson. We have Newfound Glory, Listen Up. Really good pop punk. Above Below, I guess it was Nowhere. Very interesting take on metalcore, especially modern metal in general, I think. If you like modern metal, or even if you dislike modern metal and you want to hear a different perspective, this is definitely an album you should be checking out. Now this one, I promise if I'm not being facetious here, there's no irony here, there's no sarcasm. I actually enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would, and that's Hilary Duff, Luck or Something. Yeah, very weird to hear her swearing and stuff and, talking a lot about sex and all this other shit, but yeah, I didn't mind this album at all. You should go check it out. We also have Trauma Ray, the Carnival EP. We have Bruno Mars, The Romantic. I'm not going to say I enjoyed this more than, Unorthodox Jukebox, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. I did enjoy it more than 24K Magic. If I had to give it a score, I'd say maybe an 8 out of 10. Definitely give it a listen. I do like that we have mainstream artists now listening to Mexican music or being influenced by Mexican music. I'm wondering when they discovered that they had an interest in including or incorporating it into their sound, because Bruno's not the only one doing that. Just curious as to where the interest is coming from. But yeah, Exhumed, The Red Asphalt. This is very disgusting lyrically. It's thrash for the thrasher, man. If you like thrash metal, this is gonna be for you. It's gonna be right up your alley. It's fast, it's heavy, it's, again, disgusting lyrically, very descriptive, and yeah, it's a fun time. Megan Maroney, Cloud9. I do not feel equipped or qualified to speak on country music just yet, but I did listen to this, just, the single itself, Cloud9, very good song. I think lyrically is very impactful. Again, this isn't Chris Stapleton or Johnny Cash or Willie Nelson, but I think it's country pop done right. And yeah, if you have any interest in country or country adjacent music, definitely check out the single Cloud9 first and then try and give the album a listen. I actually enjoyed this more than I thought I would, and that's coming from somebody that doesn't generally listen to country music. But yeah, up next we have Miss Gloom, J is for June. And lastly, on the albums that you should check out is the Butter EP by Puya. Fun listen. Check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, lastly, in the month of February, there's a lot more positive than there was negative. So I made it a point to get the albums I thought were bad out of the way first, because there are plenty that I thought were actually great. This is a longer list. First up, we have The Gloom in the Corner, Regal Discordance. This is... I can't help but sense maybe some Ice Nine Kills influence in this. This is metalcore done by theater kids. That's the best way I could describe it. If you're a fan of Ice Nine Kills, I would definitely check out this album. Again, there's very theatrical aspects to this. The promotional art is very cool. I haven't made it a point to watch the music videos, but I think it very much fits how I describe this. Yeah, very cool songs, and it definitely receives a high rating from me. I don't know what the reviews out there have said, but it's different and you should listen to it. Now we have Toward the Throne, Midnight. I think they describe themselves as ambient melodic death metal. Ambient melodic blackened death metal or some shit like that. And as long and unnecessary as that description is for the band, it's actually fitting. If you're a fan of death metal in any capacity, you should listen to this album. If you're a fan of atmospheric black metal in any capacity, you should listen to this album. It wasn't a tough listen at all. I think the vocals fit the style of music. If you have hamster attention span, definitely skip the song that's over 7 minutes long. But yeah, I thought this was an amazing album, and I can't wait to hear more from this band. Up next, we have Mirror Cell, Long Nights in the Lovescape. This is that new metalcore sound done correctly. I think if you're into new metal or just heavy music, but you still like, just a smidge of melody in your heavy music, this is definitely an album for you. They have very, very catchy songs. Up next, we have Ariel's Where the Light Leaves. If you've seen my reaction, you know what I think about this album. I'm not going to regurgitate the things I've said. I think this album is fucking amazing. It's a 10 out of 10 for me personally. If you like shotgun heavy drums, fucking heavier side of metalcore, hardcore influenced, a smidge of modern sounds and samples in between there. Yeah, this is for you. This might go up in one of my top 5 albums of the year easily. For my taste in music, we'll see how it goes. We still have plenty months in the year to go, but I think they knocked it out of the park with this one, personally. Up next, we have Bones, Songs to Sleep To. This is a departure from Bones' usual sound, that SoundCloud, like, eerie 90s, like, boom bap shit that he does. That kind of like the G59 style of hip-hop, the very funk influenced and almost haunting sounding style. These are softer songs, man, and I was surprised to hear, because he's done like soft shit before, but not so much like this. There's a lot of songs that have acoustic guitar, and I just love the way that they're constructed. I love the way that they're very relaxing, and I'm not one for relaxing music, but there's almost a depressing, melancholic feeling in some of these songs that I gravitate towards, and I know this is not going to be for everybody, but I thought this album was amazing. Definitely check this out if you like depressing music. We have Alex Sucks, Autopilot. This is very reminiscent of a station that we had here where I live, where it was very alternative music heavy. Just go give the album a listen. I think this sound is missing from the spotlight. I wish there were more bands like this, and if there are, definitely point me in the direction, because this sound is missing from my life. Next we have Brent Faiyaz, Icon. I don't know if it's Faiyaz or Faiyaz, or I don't know how to pronounce that, but this is R&B through and through. This is the correct way to do R&B. Very seasoned, by the way. You might end up putting your significant other in a pretzel to this one, if you know what I'm saying. Up next, we have Worm, Necropalace. Now, if you follow any metal channels at all, you know how up in arms everyone was about this album. Everyone was nutting to this. A lot of people are going to have this as their album of the year if you watch any metal channels. And it's with good reason, right? This is a very good album. Song structure, amazing. Instrumentation, amazing. Vocally, for the subgenre that it is, very well done. Production, again, very well done. The art, the energy, the ambience, the songs, even if they're long, they don't feel like a chore to sit through, at least in my opinion. I haven't seen, again, for anyone that doesn't listen to metal, this might not be for you, but at least from all the things I've seen, all the reviews, both in video or written, everyone's over the moon about this album, and it's kind of easy to see why. You don't really fuck with metal, give it a chance, see what you think, but I think this one's great. Up next, not much to say about this one either. If you saw my reaction, we have Converge, Love Is Not Enough. I don't think this album was enough because I needed it to be longer. If you want unforgiving, relentless music that punches you in the fucking face and doesn't say sorry, this one's for you. People will die in the pit if this album is played start to finish. This is Unk Still Got It, the album. It's easily proving that it doesn't matter if a band and its members are old. You can very easily still put out good music, regardless of what your age is. And I wish some older bands would take notes. Give it a listen. Up next, we have A Boogie with the Hoodie, a 4-artistry EP. This shit is a vibe. Again, I reacted to this as well. This is modern hip-hop done correctly. I think the beats are fire. There's a very good understanding of melody, and there's an understanding of how to make a song palatable. Give this a listen if you listen to modern hip-hop, or even if you listen to hip-hop in general. You might vibe to this. This is definitely something to play in the car at full volume. I don't think you'll be disappointed, personally. Up next, we have Parapariah, Whispers in the Dark. This is post-hardcore returning to me in my ear, because I haven't heard post-hardcore since, I don't even remember when, maybe 2009, 10. At that point, I don't even know if you could still consider Bless the Fall post-hardcore, but yeah, man, this was nice to listen to. It was very nostalgic for me, especially since, I was listening to a lot of this shit as a teenager. Definitely check this out if you have a longing for that era of post-hardcore, maybe like 2006 to 2009, very early Bless the Fall stuff. It's the best I could compare it to. Very early Escape the Fate stuff. It's a good album to play from start to finish. It was kind of hard to pick a song that stood out. Definitely give it a listen. Then we have Guilt Trip with the God Forgives EP. This shit is heavy as fuck. Again, very nu metal influence, but like the heavier side of nu metal. There are instances in this that remind me of Machine Head with those natural harmonics. Very heavy. It's not long at all, so if you want something angry to listen to, definitely check this out. If you're looking for something to put on during the workout, definitely give this a listen. This will definitely be going on my top EPs of the year once the year concludes, so be on the lookout for that. 9 months from now. And lastly, we have what I think was the best album this month. Again, I'm not ranking any of these. These are not like in any order from, worst to best. When I'm speaking of these, the best, what I thought were the best albums, I'm not ranking them. But this one is J. Cole, The Fall Off. I don't give a fuck what Fantano told you. He checks for music that no one checks for. People were actually looking forward to this. You can give it a 7 out of 10 all you want. This is artistry. This is hip hop. This is what people want. They want lyrics over good beats. The man took singing lessons. I don't know what the fuck. Again, like I mentioned with the Bruno Mars album, it seems like artists are discovering Mexican music for the first time. I don't know. Have you listened to the song The Let Out? That intro is very, Mexican corrido tumbado style. You're familiar with any of that at all? You have a song like Bombs in the Ville. There's like 3 different parts to that one, and I just love the way that they bleed into each other. The bars in here are fucking insane. The song structures. And another thing, the album is long as fuck, and I was never bored listening to this. I don't think I'm alone in saying that this is probably going to be one of the top albums of the year. If you listen to hip-hop and you like hip-hop, this is definitely going to be up your alley, especially if you're into, or you long for the days where lyricism was actually important in the song. Now again, I just want to say I listened to about 54 projects and counting, just in case I missed anything, I can go back and write it down. But I obviously didn't talk about all 54 projects here. You had the Rob Zombie album. It's a Rob Zombie album. You had a bunch of other stuff too, but you had the Mothica EP, you had, what else did you have that I didn't talk about? If you're into metal, you had shit like Dawn of the Iconoclast by Worm Shepherd, which I thought was it's just another run-of-the-mills album, in my opinion. Yeah, Tiana Major 9, November Scorpio in the R&B section. Again, it's good, but it wasn't better than Brent Faiyaz, however you say his name. He had a newer artist in country in Ashley Wineland. I followed her on Instagram. That's why I checked out her album. She definitely has, the makings of a potentially great artist. It's just, I also really like that. Sure, you can tell it's country, but it's very rock influenced, and I think that's why I gravitated toward it. But there needs to be a little more polish in there, and I think she'll definitely be an artist worth definitely checking out in the near future if she can perfect those things. But yeah, man, let me know what you thought were the better albums of February. What was your favorite? What were your least favorite? Tell me why I'm wrong about the ones I listed. I know the Gorillaz people were super fucking tilted if they even made it to my explanation. I got some views on that reaction, so only 2 people interacted. One I know personally, but yeah, man, just let me know what you fucked with this month, what you didn't fuck with this month. Not this month. February, sorry. We're in March. What are some albums you think I might have missed? Again, I only listened to 54 projects, so let me know what you were listening to. And more importantly, let me know what you want me to react to. Doesn't matter what it is, bands, rappers, singers, we fuck with all forms of music around these parts. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, support your boy. And with all that being said, team, I go by Sub-Zero on the internet, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.